Hi everyone, welcome to my Live at 5. As you know, I every week like to surprise you with someone new. And wherever you are in the world, whether it's good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, we're really pleased to have you here with us. So thank you for joining. So, as always, this session is going to be about learning from some incredible people in our community and hearing some real stories from those building meaningful careers in the ecosystem. So I'm delighted today to introduce to you our community champion, Zainab. And Zainab has an incredibly inspirational story. She's got a great journey to talk to you about today. She began her career as a primary school teacher, as many of you do. I often speak to school teachers. She was based in Pakistan, and she decided that when she moved to the UK and later to Ireland, where she worked in childcare, she decided that this was her next planned route. So alongside this, she always had a strong interest in technology, which eventually led her to discover Salesforce through Trailhead and wanting to learn in a more structured way and a more supported way, I should say. She joined Supermums and obviously hasn't looked back. She completed her Salesforce administrator course with Supermums. Then, through Supermums recruitment, she secured an internship with JRS USA, and within a few months, her dedication led to a Salesforce admin role within JRS Italy, where she still currently works today. So Zainab now specialises in NPSP, Nonprofit Success Pack, where she manages key areas such as data governance, user security reporting, user adoption and integrations. I don't think I've missed anything there, with third-party tools. And her journey is a powerful example of resilience, determination, and the impact of community, absolutely. So, Zainab, it's wonderful to have you here with us today. I'd like to start by asking you to introduce yourself, if you can, in your own words, please, and tell us a little bit more about your journey into Salesforce, please.
Sure. Hi, Lynn, and hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Lynn, for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
And I don't think you have left anything, but let me give it, a try in my own words. So, as you mentioned, my journey started in the classroom back in Pakistan. So it was a different country and, different career. So while I loved teaching, I was moving across borders from Pakistan to the UK and then finally to Ireland. And that made me realize that I needed a career that was both globally recognized and also intellectually challenging. And I was always been interested in IT. I was looking for different courses and different things to do in IT. But then somehow I discovered Salesforce, and it was like, finding the perfect puzzle. So it allowed me to take that desire to helping people and just power it up with my passion for technology. And then, I started my journey from there.
Great. And, your journeys, for Salesforce is quite unique. I mean, obviously, you are not the only one that I've spoken to, with a similar story. But, starting in education and moving across countries before entering into tech, what actually sparked that interest into IT?
So I had always been curious about tech.
Okay.
It was always curiosity was always there. Even as a teacher, I was working in, something technical on the computer and researching things. And then, as I told you, that when I moved countries, so there was my, chance to look for another career in IT. So on the side, I was always looking for some different courses, but, those courses were related to coding and mostly, languages. So coding was not my cup of tea. So after that, somehow my husband introduced me to Salesforce. So, that's how it all started.
Oh, that's great. And I suppose, when you think about making a career transition is one thing, but especially when you're moving across countries as well as in industries, I mean, it can be obviously really challenging. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced while you were learning Salesforce and breaking into your first role?
So, biggest challenges, as I was coming from a different field, and it was totally different, and there were different. I started doing trailheads, and then what happened, it was very structured, it was very gamified, but I still needed some guidance. So I came across super moms that had helped me, move forward. But the challenges I found was, I was the imposter syndrome was there.
We all have that.
I still, it's always there, but you have to push it back. And then it was just, I'm not in the thinking in my head, like I'm not in the right place. This is not for me. Maybe I started something wrong. It's so many things come to your mind. So I think that was the biggest challenge that I, tried to fight back.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, a little bit like you, I mean, I did Trailhead, and whilst Trailhead is great, as you say, Trailhead, you can never knock Trailhead, even if it's a rainy Sunday afternoon. I still like to go and have a little dabble and keep up to date. But I think, it's always nice for our watchers or listeners, depending on, how you're streaming this. How did the combination, I can't get the word out. How did the combination of self-learning and guided training help you to build the confidence in the skills?
So as you know that, very well that Trailhead is very interesting. It's gamified, and it's self-paced. So you don't have to, always be worrying that, oh, okay, I'm missing something. But there was still something missing there. And one point that I really liked about Trailhead was there were tasks and quizzes and projects, and then you get the points. And that
badges as well.
yeah, and that helped me, getting into the Ranger League as well. So that was really great. I was always looking forward to it, but still there was something missing. So I did my research and I came across Super Moms, and I was, after coming across Super Moms, I was still very worried. You never know like which course is good enough and which one would be good for you and will help you in your further your career goals. But I think when I came with Super Moms, I think that was the turning point for me. So when whenever we are pivoting careers, it's easy to feel like an outsider. So, but when I became a part of the cohort and I saw the people that they are in the exact same boat, they are trying to balance family and learning and, trying to change careers. So it gave me a very safe space and a safe space to ask silly questions as well. So, and it provided me real world projects and experience. So, I was at the point where I could say that, yes, I am a professional admin and not just a student. So I think Super Moms was the turning point for me, not just the badges. So
yeah, and I totally agree with that. As I say, being on a similar, I can't say anywhere near the journey you've been on, but absolutely, it's what got me to where I am now by doing the course with Super Mums. I mean, we both know. I think for me, if you said to me, Lynn, go and do Trailhead on Tuesday, something else would get in the way. But I think it's all about having the structure when you turn up to a live class and then you go over and put it into practice. So I think that's what worked for me too. But your internship that you did with JRS in USA clearly played a role in your journey. What did you learn in that experience and how did that prepare you for a real life current role?
So yeah, coming from Super Moms and Trailhead, so to a real organization where I was, tend to do my hands-on experience. So that was a very big thing for me. I had never worked with an organization before. I was working with educational settings and different schools. So that was a very big thing for me. In the start, to be honest, it was quite hard to understand, what people are talking about. What is all that, different jargons going on any organization, and especially the nonprofit. It was really something new for me. So, but working with live data, first experience with real users and actual business needs. So I learned to listen. Then I learned what, to differentiate what the users are saying, what they need and what they actually need. So that all built confidence, translating technical solutions into just plain language and making it easier for myself as well. So yeah, that was a great experience for me.
Great. And I think, it is so awesome that you transitioned into a full-time role on the back of your work experience, working for JRS in Italy now so quickly. What do you think helped you to stand out and secure that opportunity?
So as I said, I was first time working with a nonprofit, and I genuinely felt a connection to the mission. So JRS serves refugees and displaced people, and that really felt close to my heart. So that was one main thing. And then I was quite proactive as well. So I was not just completing tasks, but I was asking questions and suggesting improvements and playing with real world data. So I got the confidence and maybe you can say I got the kick and getting foot in the door. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, and I think when you say about that confidence building, it's so true, isn't it? The more confidence you get, the more you don't feel that imposter syndrome, and you think, actually, do you know what? I'm in the right place here. So it's great to hear that from everyone. So we're so proud of every single person that goes through our program. But you're now working as a Salesforce admin, focusing on NPSP. For those who may not be familiar, can you explain what NPSP is? And it'd be great to understand, if it's okay. I know I'm asking lots of questions all at once, but it's all coming to me. It'd be great to understand, what is the difference between NPSP and nonprofit cloud, please?
Sure. So NPSP is Nonprofit Success Pack. So that's basically Salesforce household account model, and it is a data structures that groups individual contacts that are people into a single account record that is a household to manage family relationships, addresses, donations together rather than as separate entities. It's easier for the nonprofits to keep a track of a household, of how many people that are donating or how many people they are just sending emails to as a household rather than individual and separate entities. And the nonprofit cloud is Salesforce newer version. And it's sorry, I forgot to tell you that NPSP is basically the it sits on top of it's a managed package, and it sits on top of Salesforce platform, whereas nonprofit cloud is Salesforce newer version, and it's not a package on top. It's just a fully integrated suite, and it brings together fundraising, program management, case management, all in one place. And it's built on Salesforce latest architecture. And it's where their long-term investment is heading at the moment. But mainly the NPSP is used by smaller or mid-sized nonprofits because it's very cost-effective, whereas nonprofit cloud is a bit on the higher pricing side. And for NPSP, the nonprofits also get discounts and 10 free licenses, which are, a big yes for the nonprofit. That's why it's very, famous among the small and mid-sized nonprofits.
Thank you, and I'm sure that will be really useful for those that are watching today and wanted to understand that. So it's these are why we do these sessions, because it's really useful for everyone. But your role does cover like a wide range of responsibilities, from obviously, as we said, data management, governance, user training, integrations. Which area do you find most impactful, and why?
Oh, that's a tough choice because they're all connected to each other. But if I have to pick one, I find data governance to be the most impactful, because I work a lot with data as well. And in a nonprofit like JRS, the data represents real people and real lives, and real refugees, real donors. So if a donor's record is duplicated or refugees' assistance history is inaccurate, it's not just a system error, it affects the organization's ability to serve the mission. So I see myself as a guardian of that data. I play with it every day. I have to look up for whatever the dirty data is, and when the data is clean and it's governed correctly, leadership can make confident and informed decision about where to send their resources, which projects are going, well, and which projects need more care from them. So from my teaching background, I know that people lose trust in a tool if it feels messy or confusing. But by focusing on data management and governance, I'm actually making user training easier. So if the system is clean and reliable, users trust it more and they use it more, and the impact of the Salesforce platform grows across the whole organization. So ultimately, I'd say that governance is the foundation, and you can have like fanciest integrations, or you can have bad data. If the data is poor, the result will be poor. So I like being a person who ensures that the foundation is rock solid.
That's good. That's good to know. Do you know what I think is really important? And this comes from all of my Wednesday Live at Fives, when I speak to some awesome community champions. I think it's about finding your passion, isn't it? It's about finding that sweet spot. And actually, you've found your USP and you can talk to that so confidently. But when we're talking about that, when we think about nonprofits, obviously they do rely heavily on accurate data and strong user adoption. I mean, that goes without saying. I say it's not just nonprofits, obviously there. But what are some of the best practices that you've learned when managing data and encouraging users to engage with Salesforce?
So first of all, I tell everybody, but that's for everyone using Salesforce in a live environment. Like, I tell them to use a sandbox for testing. You know that better as well. And before deploying any changes, such as new fields, validation rules, or automation, anything you want to work on, just use the sandbox, and then you can just deploy it later. And then the most important thing, as you said, and as I mentioned before as well, maintaining data hygiene. So taking control of the duplicates, just managing all the validation rules are there, no dirty data is there, keeping an eye, making reports that show any dirty data or any names that are, have not the right proper alphabets in them. So saying that, and then adoption obviously is very important. So for good adoption, so there should be role relevant training and some internal super users or champions. And then there should be some feedback loops as well, that, that should tell the admin that whatever is needed and whatever is not. So, yeah.
Excellent. No, that's brilliant. You know, and as I say, these conversations are so insightful. But talking about insightful, it would be lovely to sort of talk a little bit about, so, you know, some personal insights and, you know, a little bit about the community. So your journey does really highlight the power of persistence and community support. And we genuinely thank you every day for that. How did programs like Supermoms and the wider Salesforce community help you along the way?
Yes, that's a great point, Lynn. I totally believe in, community and some aspects like super moms or, everybody around us. So I truly believe that while you can learn the technical side of Salesforce alone, but you cannot build a career alone. This is here programs like Supermoms come, and also the wider trailblazer community. They were all my pillars, I would say. And starting a new career is always intimidating for everyone, rather than let alone just career changing. So Supermoms provided me with a mentor, and a structured environment where I didn't feel like I was shouting into a void or hitting my head on a wall. So having someone to say, yes, Zainab, you are on the right track, or, try looking at this automation differently this way. So that turned my anxiety into confidence. So I had somebody to talk to when I was, feeling overwhelmed or just having imposter syndrome. So that was the main thing for me. So starting a new career is always, hard. So also talking about the wider Salesforce community, the Salesforce Ohana is so diverse, we all know. So there are always people who are moving from teaching or, healthcare, or other moms who have successfully pivoted careers. So looking at them was my daily, fuel. It helped me realize that my background wasn't a barrier, and it was part of my unique value proposition.
Great. No, absolutely. Thank you. As I say, thank you for sharing all of this with us. And I suppose for those watching today who maybe are looking to transition into Salesforce, because obviously, a lot of people do watch this that are brand new and don't really know what to do, especially from a non-technical background, what would be your top piece of advice for those?
So I believe a lot on just bringing your past with you instead of, leaving it behind, because that's what we call transferable skills. So I believe that a lot, and I always give this advice to embrace your transferable skills. And you already know how you communicate, you know how to solve problems and deal with different people, and how to manage them. So Salesforce is just a tool. So you just need your transferable skills, and you don't need to know any coding, as I mentioned earlier as well. So they're just, you need to do the clicks and no coding. So that's really where your transferable skills can be valuable. So, and just don't learn in isolation. Join a program like Supermoms. You have my example, you have hundreds of other examples, and find any local trailblazer groups. They're all in almost cities. And so this technology can be learned through a screen, but confidence come from the people around you, and they help you and walk the path before you. So yes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, it's so important to find, because the thing is, you learn Salesforce, and because Salesforce is used by thousands of organizations globally, you match it, as you said, with your transferable knowledge in your industry, because you will always find that when you're applying for job roles, you've already got all that great knowledge behind you. And then, of course, you add Salesforce into the mix, and that's where the magic happens. So I think I totally agree with that. Now, I'm just going to ask you, this isn't a loaded question. You didn't have a demo for today, did you?
I do. If we have time, I can
We
quickly
absolutely have time. I would love you to share your demo. It might be nice for everyone to, you know, have a look at the NPSP interface, perhaps, and the structure behind, you know, the objects and activities, etc., and reports. So yeah, absolutely. If you are able to do that, let me just give you the. I'll just need to change our screen slightly so that you can share your screen. So if I go here.
Sure.
And then you should be able to share your screen now, I'm hoping.
Okay,
Oh,
so
how exciting.
I am sharing it. Let's see.
There you go. Perfect. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. So here it's just a demo org. So I just created that for all of you. So just a quick show up for this non-profit success pack. So this is, as you know, this is the app launcher, and these are all the objects here. So as I told before, these are the accounts. So accounts are basically all the households. You can see the list here. So a household will have, you know, different, maybe husband and wife, or siblings, or parents and children. So it can have many people under it. And the account also consists of organizations. So there's the list here. I can show one here. So you can, as you can see here, it has one contact, one opportunity, that's a donation, and this is just the layout. Okay, let me show you first all the objects. So this is the contact. So these are all the individuals, basically the people we have. Let me show you all contacts here so we can see the list here. So these are all the individuals. And then these are the opportunities that in nonprofit, we say these are the donations. So here we can see different donations that are made by different donors. And these donors can be part of a household as well, like maybe a husband or wife. They have separately donated, but everything would go under one household. And then in nonprofit NPSP, we also have recurring donations, which the fundraisers depend a lot on. So these are like, can be monthly, yearly, quarterly donations that donors, you know, make. So these are very important for the fundraisers. And then we have the campaigns, like different campaigns that go on during the year, like end of year campaign, or for example, Easter campaign. So different campaigns to target different donors and different segments are there as well. And then I can show you one contact quickly.
I do love a demo.
So this one, yeah. So for example, this is one contact. No, let me show another one with the this one. So as I was saying that nonprofits depend on relationships as well. So this is a person, and if you see in the relationship, you can see that his wife is there as well. So they are both under one account, Lee household. So you can see everything. They all have two opportunities, and everything is there in under one household. And if there are also reports as well, which are very handy to analyze the data and different, you know, making decisions. So this is just a sample report with I created with all the donations as per year. We can group by year, so we can see like 2025 have 2 donations and 2026 have 4, and we can see the probability that if they are fully paid, or they are still in the pipeline, or still some pledges are there. So yeah, like this is just a quick roundup of the org, NPSP org.
I love that. And do you know what? I'm just going to try and get us back. Let's just find us this one. I think we were on. There you go. Yeah, I think, I love a demo, and it's just really great, isn't it? When you get a nice shiny report, and you can get all, get everything in one place. I love a report. I love a report.
I love reports.
Dashboard. I think it's, and it's nice to see. I haven't actually looked at the NPSP, so it's quite nice for me to see that as well. And I'm sure everyone watching will also agree. But Zainab, thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights today. It's been incredibly inspiring to hear how you transitioned into Salesforce, from where you were, and then you've gone into the non-profit space. And again, like I say, you found your passion, by working in the company that you are. And I'm sure that, the audience today has taken some really valuable lessons from your experience. And thank you for joining us today. And, next week, I will be sharing more with another community champion. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for the Super Mums. Now that you have learned it and now you're giving back with your knowledge, and we really, really appreciate that. Would you like to say anything before we go, Zainab?
No, just a thanks to you, and special, I won't let this opportunity go to thank Super Moms. So I'm really thankful and grateful to Heather and all the Super Moms, because of them, I'm here. So I'm really grateful. So thank you so much for having me and giving me this platform to share my journey. I hope some people can, get some insights and help. Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. It's been really joyous talking to you. It's been really lovely to hear. I love these stories and I love these journeys. It just makes everything worthwhile. It's why I get out of bed every day to watch you go on to have this incredible career. So thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for the support and the help that you're giving everyone now by giving back. So thank you very much. I will see you next Wednesday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.